So let us see the record sharing access in real time. So first for that, let's move back to Classic. Now I'm going to log out as this particular user, come back to login as a system admin, and first thing is I'm going to make the change to the second profile, which I created, and make it all the same. So if you remember, we had two profiles, one is for Naren and another is for Bob Smith. So we are going to change the Bob Smith's profile. So let me go to the Bob Smith profile. Yeah, it's already there here, and let me edit. Hold on, let me edit this particular. What I am going to do is I had restricted, I'm sorry, just give me a minute. So let me go down all the way to the student master custom object access of that particular profile, where I had restricted the access to student master and marks. Now I'm going to enable that access because I want to. Okay, so this is enabled here, which is this profile. Yeah, okay, so the student master is now re-enabled. Yeah, student masters 2. Yeah, this is the one which you're using. So let's enable this. We are not going to enable the view all modifier, only we are going to give the CRUD permission. If you see here, I have not given the view all modify all because that will go against the grain of our concept. So let's save this. So now if I go as student master, I can create and edit records as the other user. Now we will do one thing. Let's move to setup to understand this little better. Classic. So if you go to classic, then again setup, the same setup. Now what we are going to do is we are going to play around with the student master sharing. So click search sharing settings, click on the sharing settings to come to the sharing settings screen. Also parallelly in other screen, you need to check your role hierarchy. Now this is important. Now this is very important. As I told you, you need to set your role hierarchy correctly. If you don't set your role hierarchy, all this will not work. So this is what it is. So let's go up. Let's click on setup roles. So CEO is at the top of the company, and if you see CFO, CO are parallel. So CEO is the manager of CFO and CO. So if anything is set to public read write, all the people in the hierarchy can see the records. If the OWD is set to public read only, all the people in the hierarchy can see read the record, but only the owner can write. Then they can give sharing access. But if it is set to private, even the visibility is only with the owner or with the manager. So now let us see who's assigned this role. We can assign this CFO to the user Bob Smith. So I have selected here already one user CFO here, and when I click on assign at COO, I'll be able to see myself. I'll remove the other user. So I have two roles correctly set up. There is another way in which you can set up. You have to go to user screen, and in the users, click on the user Bob Smith. This is another way, just another option. You can select the role here also, okay, but since it's already set, it's not now you don't need to make a change, but this is just an option I want to show you. The navigation, you can go to the user and change the role like you change the profile. Okay, so coming back to here, we have said Bob Smith is CFO and myself I am COO. So now let us do the sharing settings. Now let me go to the student. Now if you go to the sharing settings, as I told you, in the setup, search for sharing settings. Now in this is where you set the OWD settings. Here we set the role, right? Now we are going to set the OWD settings in the sharing settings. So click edit. Here you will see all the standard and custom objects, everything. So now we are going to play around with the student master. So right now public master, student master is public read write. Let's change that to private. Yeah, so student master is set to private. Now we have changed the OWD setting of this object private. So now let us see how this works. So now as he's saying, I'm getting a message, one or more sharing operations, see certain operations may not be available. What it is says, what happens is in the background Salesforce runs a calculation and stores it in a share object. So all the records which are there right now, there are much records, so it won't take much time. You'll get an email that your calculations are done. But right now, since there are not many records, I can assume that they are successfully done. So now let me navigate to the, now let's, in Lightning or in Classic, let's go to the student master to the new application that you have created, and let's see a student master record. Yeah, so now let's create a new student master and call it, say, and let's just give the basic data. So now I have created a student master record as Naren. So now let me log out of this particular user, and let me log in as, so I'll navigate to the users. In the setup, the same thing, this is just like in Lightning. So again, I can see that now I log in as Bob Smith to see the student master record which is created. Now if you remember, the student master was set to private. So now I'll have to navigate to the my customer. So if I go to student master, if you see, I will not be able to see this record. This is because that is the sharing, because it is not, it is private and not shared with me currently. So that is the thing. Now if I want to share this record, I'll go back to, now I need to log out. Remember, you're logged in as Bob Smith, your entire org, all our browsers will be logged in. So now you logged out, now I'm logged in as Naren. So I'll go back to student master, click on Jatin, click on sharing, and I'm going to say add. So I'm going to see, I can, these are the ones I can add to roles, groups. I'll select users, select Bob, select the, okay, select Bob, save it. Now right now I can also give the level of access. I'm going to give only read only access to that. So now it is shared. So now I'm going to log in as that other user again. Okay, let me log in from here. Now since I was at Naren, I need to go back. So now what is happening is now the user, that record has got shared with, so if I log in as Bob Smith, and if I go to the student, my custom sales app, go to the student master record. Earlier I could not see Jatin, the record which was created. Now if I click here and if I say all, this record is visible to me. Okay, so this is the thing about this sharing rules. Now this is a manual sharing. So this way, now again I'll go back to the other user. Now imagine that there are thousands and thousands of records getting created each time. Now are you going to, lakhs of records are coming in, maybe, or like in a call center or in a service request, or so due to some hierarchy, are you going to physically go and share? There is no time for it, right? So based on some logic, you will share records. So let us do that. For that, what we do is we go back to the sharing settings where we created our role, where we created our OWD, and now we are going to create a criteria based sharing. So it's not going to wait for, you know, me to manually share the record. So let me go down to, so if you see, all the objects will be there here. You'll have to scroll all the way down to the student master 2, yeah, sharing rules. In setup, sharing settings, student master 2, which is your object. So here you can now add a new rule which says new rule to share. So I'll say based on criteria, I'll just say age is not equal to 0. So basically all records. So I can either share it with a group. Group is a set of users. Roles again are a set of roles. Portal roles, these are like license, some additional licenses. So right now I can add to the particular role which is COO. I think it is, what is this? Bob Smith's CFO. So I will select CFO and say click save. So I'm sharing it with that particular role. So automatically any record that is created by me now will get added to that particular record or to the particular user. So I'm going to go as student master and create create a new record, say John Lee. And some date of joining is again the same date. Save it. So now this is great. Now let's log in as that particular user again. So for that, let me log in as Bob Smith. Now I need to go to that particular app. Sorry. Now when I navigate to this app, now in the student master, it's going to show me all the records now. See, now what has happened is it has shared all the records now. So that sharing rule has now retroactively shared all the records with me. I'm able to see all the records. So this is how sharing rule works. So basically you need to create your OWD. The OWD are of three types, which is public, read, write, public, read only, private, controlled by parent. So you need to decide what is the access you want to give at the OWD level, and then based on that you'll have to create a proper role hierarchy, and then if you want to extend the access you have to do sharing rules. So pause the video here, practice this for student master, and do the same with case object. Case is a standard object. What I want you to practice is, once you do this, make case into private, create some cases as system admin, and then share it with Bob Smith using sharing rules. Make it private. Initially you should not be able to see the cases. Please practice this and so that we can complete this module. So this is how record level sharing works. Some other set of settings that you can do organization wide are, at the profile level you also can do couple of things here, which is, let me show you this here. You can restrict the you can set up the timeouts. What is the if there is a IP restriction, you can enable that. Then you can set up like what is the level of when he will be logged out. If you don't want the device activation check, all that you can control over here in the profile. And you can also introduce new IP ranges, internal whitelisted IP ranges. So this profile can use it only for this particular ranges. Okay, so that is one. IP ranges. Login hours also can be restricted. Another place where you can manage this is at the company information. You can specify, just a minute, you can specify the login, user licenses. Also you can